Hello and thanks for joining us on the news on NTA International. I am Dennis Adlui. My sign language interpreter is Courage Ogiriahi. The headlines. Governor tasks civil servants on diligence as work resumes across the country. Poland assumes presidency of Council of European Union as volunteer health workers in Zambia gain full employment. And from our sports desk, two-time world heavyweight champion targets third world title and Tyson Fury in 2025. Poland has assumed presidency of the Council of the European Union. Let's get details with Uche Chukwu.
Poland is taking over the rotating presidency of the Council of the European Union.
Frankly speaking, the expectations are really high, especially after Hungarian presidency. And I am not sure that I am able to fulfill all these expectations. Not easy, but okay, at least.
With its presidency set to be officially inaugurated on January 3, this time in line with the motto, Security, Europe, the Polish presidency will support activities aimed at strengthening European security, including, among other areas, those relating to external, internal, information, economic, energy, food, and health security. The presidency of the Council of the EU rotates among EU member states every 6 months. Representatives of the Council holding the presidency are responsible for setting the agenda for meetings of the Council's individual bodies and conducting negotiations among member states. Over the next 6 months, Poland is set to host over 300 official meetings, including 22 informal councils of EU ministers. The first on the agenda will be a meeting of education ministers scheduled for January 21 to 22, followed by a meeting of justice and home affairs. However, it will not host an informal summit of EU leaders. Instead, this will be held in Brussels on February 3. Nearly 200 cultural events have been planned during the Polish presidency. The first one, a gala concert in Warsaw on January 3, will symbolically inaugurate the Polish presidency. It will be attended by the President of the European Council, Antonio Costa, and a delegation from Ukraine. The Polish presidency of the Council of the EU coincides with the start of a new institutional cycle in the EU. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
Data from the U.S. Center for Disease Control shows that norovirus, also known as the vomiting bug, is spiking across the United States this winter. Let's get more details on this from Uche Ugochukwu. All right, we'll get that report to you in our subsequent bulletins. Introversion is one of humanity's greatest virtues, allowing individuals to strengthen themselves, cultivate creativity, and nurture personal growth. World Introvert Day, celebrated annually on January the 2nd, honors this often unappreciated quality. The day highlights the powers of introverts, whose talents often flourish through quiet reflection and meaningful connections with family and friends. World Introvert Day offers an opportunity to challenge society's misconceptions about introversion. While introverts may not always express themselves verbally, their creativity and accomplishments speak volumes. Their ability to remain calm, engage in deep thinking, and tune out distractions help them excel in various fields, making them diverse and remarkable personalities. Experts say it is important to distinguish introversion from shyness. Introversion is the preference for solitude, a positive trait that fosters creativity and self-awareness. Shyness, on the other hand, is characterized by anxiety and fear of social situations, often keeping one from engaging with others. Now, South Sudan's government says it has received 1.1 million doses of cholera vaccines as the country struggles to contain an outbreak of the disease. The cholera outbreak was declared in the country in October in a border town between Sudan and South Sudan, but it has now spread to 6 out of the country's 10 states.
The most affected groups are those living in internally displaced camps and refugees from Sudan. Some of those living in the camps are people displaced from their homes by floods. Sanitation in the camps is poor and cholera is spreading rapidly. The government has now received 1.1 million doses of cholera vaccines. It is a donation from the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunizations, or Gavi.
This is supposed to be a 2-dose vaccine, but if you take one, you are supposed to get the immunity from within 2 weeks, and it can take you for closer to 6 months. And then if you take the other second doses, it can give protection for up to 3 years.
South Sudan's government says the cholera vaccines are part of a bigger plan it has to contain the spread of the disease. It is emphasizing that vaccines are only supplementary to good sanitation.
I urge the media and civil society to join hands in disseminating information and raising awareness about the importance of vaccination.
South Sudan's government says more than 100 people have died due to cholera in this outbreak. The government says more than 6,000 people are now infected with cholera, and it is urging aid agencies working in the health sector to do more to help contain the spread of the disease.
Let's now take that report from Uche Ugochukwu on the spread of the norovirus in the United States.
Norovirus is a highly contagious virus that spreads via contaminated surfaces, food, water, and close contact with infected individuals. Medics first discovered noroviruses in 1972 using an electronic microscope. Since then, they found a large variety of different noroviruses, several of which are contagious to humans. Noroviruses can be found all over the world. They are responsible for roughly half of all non-bacterial cases of diarrhea. Children under 5 years, as well as the weak and elderly, are most vulnerable. There is a risk of infection anywhere that people are confined to a space over a long period of time. A norovirus outbreak hospitalized hundreds of people in an Italian village in 2024. Noroviruses always develop inside the human. They multiply in gastrointestinal tract and get distributed by droplets and contact infection through the stool or the vomit. The smallest traces are sufficient to infect a healthy person. 10 to 100 viruses particles are enough. Touching a slightly soiled door handle after using the toilet and then eating something out of the hand may already get one seriously sick after an incubation time of only 6 to 50 hours. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
In other news, the 2024 BRICS summit in Russia was a much bigger affair than usual as the group's 5 new members took their place at the table in Kazan. With plans to draw the 10 economies closer and possibly even a further expansion in the near future, officials believe it's a transformative era for BRICS and the global south in general.
Nations.
At the heart of the discussions in was integration of new members, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia and the UAE. An expansion that brings the BRICS bloc closer to representing half the world's population and over 35% of global GDP. With 3 nations from Africa now in the mix, the move is expected to bolster the continent's influence within the bloc.
We see business and commercial opportunity in the West, we see it in the East, and we see it in the emerging South. So we're not going to favour one region over another. Given that context, any expanded formation that presents economic opportunity.
Another major outcome of the summit was a commitment to sustainable development. BRICS reaffirmed its support for the African Continental Free Trade Area, which is struggling to get going, and emphasized a greater transition with the establishment of a BRICS energy agency in Africa.
Part of the benefit of belonging to the BRICS club or the BRICS formation is it does enable you to share in skills, know-how, knowledge, innovation, R&D. So this agency will look at elements of R&D, elements of innovation, elements of skills development, so that we can bridge that gap in energy that exists between least developed, emerging and developed markets.
The summit also addressed global trade imbalances with resolutions to increase exports of value-added products from Africa and to improve infrastructure financing through the BRICS Development Bank.
I don't think by definition the new development bank is an alternative or competitor to the World Bank or the IMF, but certainly provides options to its members to be able to get necessary funding and financing for important infrastructure developments, to get financing at lower interest rates.
As the BRICS Plus grouping takes bold steps to reshape global governance, the focus remains on inclusive growth, multilateralism and economic resilience for its members. The next BRICS summit will be held in Brazil in 2025.
We go to Zambia now, where 21 health workers who were volunteering at Mainasoko Medical Center in Zambia have been given full employment. Zambia National Service Commander Lieutenant General Maliti Solichi says the newly employed health workers will undergo military training.
The new year 2025 has brought a fresh start for 21 health workers who have been volunteering at Mainasoko Military Medical Center and have now officially joined the workforce. The announcement of their employment sparked mixed emotions among the health workers as they received the life-changing news from the Zambia National Service Commander, Lieutenant General Maliti Solichi. Lieutenant General Solichi delivered the unexpected news during a special ceremony where he also presented hampers to New Year babies at the facility.
We considered it somehow as a New Year token of appreciation to their services, and this is a New Year, they are on duty. This shows how committed they are. Also, once they go for volunteer training, we've been told by the Commander-in-Chief to maintain a database.
The newly employed health workers have expressed heartfelt gratitude for this opportunity.
I'm so happy. I just want to say thank you to him. And I also want to say thank you to everyone that has made this possible. I just give all the thanks to God and to the Mainasoko management as well.
Now I'm starting a new life. I'm just saying that may God bless the general.
The group, comprising 20 nurses and 1 plumber, will undergo military training before being deployed to various facilities nationwide. Meanwhile, Mainasoko Medical Center Commandant Brigadier General Levi Muchemwa reaffirmed the management's dedication to providing quality service.
So once again, on behalf of management for Mainasoko Medical Center, we want to commit and place that who continue working hard to provide medical services.
Now, U.S. authorities say they believe that several people were involved in an attack in New Orleans that killed 15 and wounded dozens on New Year's Day. The driver of a pickup truck that sped into large crowds in the city's French Quarter has been identified as Shamsuddin Jabbar, a U.S. Army veteran from Texas, who was killed in a shootout with police. President Joe Biden says a flag found in the truck indicates the attacker was inspired by the Islamic State group. The identities of the victims are still being established, but they include a former Princeton University football star and an aspiring nurse. Law enforcement are also looking at whether the attack is linked to the explosion of a Tesla Cybertruck outside the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas hours later. But Biden says no link has been found yet. This is the news on NTA International. We'll have more reports after this break. You're welcome back. The Minister of State for Works, Mohammed Bello Goronyo, has advocated the building of collaborative efforts among professionals to drive transformative change, strengthen socio-economic foundations, and unlock new opportunities and potentials for progress. He spoke during the second annual meeting of the Sokoto Professionals Network held in Sokoto State. The meeting is an annual event which aims to bring professionals together towards sustainable developments of the state. He described the theme of this year, meeting consolidation and progress, as very apt, coming at a time when unity and professionalism are key to unity and progress. The minister also urged members of the association to remain steadfast and continue to leverage their knowledge and skills for success. Now, the recent introduction of various infrastructure by the government has continued to have impact on the development of the country. In this report, Lynn Leneke examines this and other developmental initiatives.
Nigeria's blue economy is targeting 2 trillion naira by 2027, and to achieve this, critical infrastructure needs to be given the desired attention and necessary policies formulated. Securing the maritime domain is also important. That is why stakeholding agencies are collaborating with the nation's Navy. Key players say the massive upgrade of critical areas in the transportation sector and several infrastructure under rehabilitation, 2025 already looks bright.
Nigeria's marine and blue economy stand as a pivotal sector to foster sustainable economic growth of the nation. We will be looking at such areas like strengthening the blue governance, transforming port operations, enhancing port infrastructure, and promoting blue economy investment. This roadmap is designed in such a way as to enable our ministry to fulfill its mission of formulating and implementing policies, programs, and initiatives that will facilitate the development of an inclusive marine and blue economy ecosystem.
Completion of projects such as Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road, among others, will open up the export and import potential of the country, as well as improve ease of doing business.
As soon as this is concluded, a lot of congestion on our internal routes will become, less by over 90%. The problem we have in transshipment of goods at our Papa Wharf will become a thing of the past. A train station is starting at kilometer 16, and this is going to run all the way to Calabar.
Experts are optimistic that the present administration's efforts in realizing its vision of improving the nation's economy is on course in the coming year. In Lagos, Lynn Leneke, NTA News.
Now, of all the inequalities in the world, none is more staggering than injustice in healthcare. What ordinarily should be a universal right has for many become an elusive luxury. Well, the National Health Insurance Authority, NHIA, was established to bridge this divide. Uche Ugochukwu in this report takes us behind the veils of the NHIA to uncover efforts towards quality healthcare for all.
For years, residents of a riverine community in Bayelsa State cross the river to Yenagoa in small boats to access health care. Women in labor often endured risky canoe journeys, hoping to reach the medical center in time. Households.
The other part of universal health coverage is financial protection, which has to do with how people are able to access care without financial hardship. Hardship when seeking health care.
Stella, a civil servant battling heart disease, owes her survival to health insurance, a lifeline also embraced by Onyebuchi.
It's because of the NHIS that is why I came. I think it's not the NHIS. I could have waited, spent when I would have the money.
So of money. Number one, you have to almost every test, except very expensive ones.
Their stories stress the transformative impacts of the NTAi, which enrollment numbers have surged.
No people will wait until they become sick.
The Sustainable Development Goals set ambitious targets, but issues like poor service delivery and limited enrollment hinder progress.
It's been a two-way thing, and it's been very wonderful to enrollees, I must confess, because a lot of things have been solved under NHIs, even though it's not without the fact that we don't have our challenges, because but the review came too late, but then people are still happy having it on ground because they'll to be able to get codes for enrollees who have seen doctor, who have accessed care, and they need to go further by getting their drugs or even do investigation from the lab. There's a delay. It doesn't come early, and that will now make us feel like we have enough enrollees, we have patients waiting for too long.
While civil servants contribute diligently, some health providers and HMOs fail to meet expectations. Moreover, millions remain unaware or excluded from the program, highlighting a pressing need for greater awareness.
Because this financial protection has to reach more people, and so from a baseline of about 16 million last year, we're at about 19.2 million people now. So this year alone, we've added about another 2.5 million, 2.6 million people on health insurance. So growth rates in terms of insurance coverage we've seen in recent times in Nigeria.
As 2030 approaches, can the NHI truly be the game changer? Will more Nigerians like Stella embrace health insurance not just as a policy, but as a lifeline? Will Nigeria beat the mark and win the race? Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
Now, work has resumed across the country following the public holidays to celebrate Christmas and the New Year. And Joy Nagboyar, who monitored activities in Lagos, reports that civil servants began the workday with prayers.
It is the first working day of year 2025, and workers across the country are back to their duty posts. At the Lagos State Government Secretariat, Lausa, civil servants filed in one after the other, exchanging pleasantries.
Happy New Year! From the President's speech, it portends a good year for us, and we are hoping that all the indices of economy will be better for us and the nation will be better off.
All the glory to God for the concluded year and to give us the strength and to help us in the new year we have started already.
By the grace of God, helping our government, we have good things coming for us this year.
But before the real work begins, an interreligious prayer for public servants, leaders, and the state at large was held.
You must ask yourself, another year had just rolled by. As a civil servant, have you been civil?
The faithfulness and the mercy of God that is new every morning, according to Lamentation 3:22 and 23, has brought us this far.
Lagos State Head of Service Bode Aguru, while welcoming the workers, urged them to embrace and maintain the virtues of diligence and dedication and shun unprofessional conduct in the discharge of their duties.
Inasmuch as we have all started this new year with new resolutions, renewed hope, and great expectations, I would like to urge us all to recommit ourselves to be doubling our efforts in the discharge of our duties in our respective years.
It is good to always start with God because He has been the source of all that we have, all that we are.
The workers are optimistic that government policies will begin to yield positive results in the new year to ease the sufferings of Nigerians. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abakbuya, NTA News.
Two-time world heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua is targeting a third world title and Tyson Fury in 2025. He disclosed this to State House correspondents after visiting President Bola Tinubu at his Lagos residence. AJ lost his last fight to Daniel Dubois in September 2024 at Wembley Stadium in London, United Kingdom. Dubois defeated Joshua via knockout in the 5th round. However, Joshua says the loss has made him hungrier.
time is of the essence. Time is limited, so I just want to put in more work. 2024, when I look back, I believe I could have done more, and now I have another chance in 2025 to do. I'm going to make sure that I take every opportunity that comes my way.
Okay. The chance for you to be a three-time world champion is still not over. What shots are you giving at this? We saw what happened between you and Daniel, and would you think you should have done some things differently?
Of course, I should have won, but I didn't, and I'm going to go again. Ups and downs, they happen. Some people is always up. My life is up and down. So I've got to get used to the turbulent times and keep riding the wave. I can't stop now. I have to keep going until I reach my destination.
Okay. What are you targeting this year?
Three-time world champion. And Tyson Fury.
So when is that happening?
We're not sure, but that's my target. 2025, I'm targeting Tyson Fury.
Okay, but we saw Tyson Fury and then Usyk. With what he delivered against Usyk, do you think you have a chance against him?
We'll see. Let us get in the ring. Only God knows. But for me, we'll see in the future.
Anthony Joshua on his goals for 2025. Here now is the weather update. And that concludes the news on NTA International. Many thanks for watching. I am Dennis Adigunloye. My sign language interpreter has been Courage Ogeriahi.